Hi guys, welcome to my channel. It's your girl Helen. So guys, in my last video, I promised I was gonna make another video about tips for your practical exams. So in this case, I have decided to make it into two parts because, like I said in the previous video, the exam comprises of day one and day two. So this is day one, which is the same as part one. Yeah, and part two is coming after this one. Before I continue this video, I want to say a huge thank you to all my returning subscribers. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, why haven't you subscribed? It is free. Subscription is free. Okay. So please click the button below. Now is the time to do so. Do not forget. Okay. Before I continue, I want to express one thing I like about German educational system. So I like the fact that before every exam, the students get prepared. Like it's not like you just studied on your own and you passed. No, the teachers help you to prepare the exam, just show you a sample or give you a tip of how the main exam will look like, and that helps a lot. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because if you're in your year one, year two, or year three, and you're worried, you don't know how the practical exam is going to look like, just know that you're going to have practical probe exam, and that helps you to that gives you a glimpse of what the actual practical exam is going to look like. Okay, so do not fret. Now let's jump right in. One thing you should know is that the actual Vorbereitung of your pflegefachman praktische Prüfung should start a few days before the day one of your actual exam. One might ask, how do I start preparing a few days before that? You get to prepare a few days before that by taking the initiative to take care of patients, like take some patients, like take 3 or 4 patients and say, hey, I'm going to take care of these patients. Or start with 2 or 3 of them and say, hey, I want to take care of these patients today. They are mine. I will take care of everything. Their physical, medication, food. I will just so I can get myself acquainted to the routine of the exam or to being selbstständig. So you can do this just a few days before the exam. And in case you were unable to do this or you didn't have the opportunity to do that because you had some few days free or because the plan wasn't that suiting for you to get the chance to do that, I mean your work plan, you also get the opportunity to do this on the actual day. But if you're opportune to have been planned in the shift a few days before the actual exam, it is best for you to use this opportunity to get to know your patients. That way, you already know them. Even if there are something new, it's not going to be that much or so new that you're not going to be able to handle it because you're already stressed out and you need to simplify stuff as much as possible. While you're taking the initiative to do so, target the patients that are schwer erkrankt or patients that cannot really help themselves, that really need someone to care for them, or patients who you know are not likely to be discharged today or tomorrow or in the next 2 days, because these are the patients that the examiners target to choose because they are more suitable. Okay. Tip number 2, come as early as possible because you don't know your patients yet. You don't know who you're going to get assigned to. That way, you get a little bit overblick about what happened in the night shift or the previous day whenever whenever you get assigned a patient. This is because sometimes some colleagues do not write anything down. They don't really actually type in whatever happened with the patient during the report, which is bad. So they just say it muntly. This is the reason why you need to be there, so that if you finally get assigned your patients, you know stuff about your patients already or stuff that weren't written down. Tip number 3, respectfully refuse any extra job delegated to you by the team on that day. You're not there to work, you're there for the exam. That is your exam. Some of them do not know that, or because of Fachkraft Mangel, yeah, they delegate jobs because they think you're already a student. Some of them just came in to help as us here, but they don't know that you're a student. Please kindly refuse, except it is a critical note file. Okay? Tip number 4, be mindful of colleagues that give long advice. Why am I saying this? During my day, I had this lady who hasn't been there. She just came and she saw me and she went on and on that she's a practice online and instead of giving me tips. And then, Jesus Christ, she took my time. Like, she didn't even know how to stop. And then she suddenly went on and on and on and on about stuff I even know how to do. But you know, this kind of people where there are people who you cannot stop. As long as they start, open their mouth and start giving advice or start saying stuff, it's hard for you to stop them. They mean well, but at the same time, they are taking your time, they're eating your time. So you need to be smart. You need to be smart and mindful of it. This is why you need also have to start mentioning your talking about your exam beforehand, telling everyone that you have exam coming up, so that if they have any tip, any advice, they should give it to you before that day. You don't want anyone wasting your time. You get 5 hours, but this 5 hours flies like it disappears very quickly. You don't even know, so that you won't even know when it's gone. You'll be surprised how fast it goes. Like I already mentioned in my last video, you get 5 hours for writing styles, which does not include your exam time. And then in this vorbereitung style, let me repeat again, you do your Patentenversorgung, Patentenkennerlernen, Informationssammlung, auch from the actor, also Patentenakte oder vom Patenten selbst. Your Absprache treffen is there, your Ablauferstellung is there. Ablauferstellung, you can do it at home. Doesn't matter. Now, after these 5 hours expires, the proofer is going to tell you the 5 hours is home, and then you start the pflegeplanung, which is just for 2 hours. Now, back to tips. Tip number 5, write down a checklist of things you need to do on day 1. This you have to do already on the previous day or 2 days before that, so that you can be able to check out whatever it is you've done, whichever one you've done, you check it out so you don't forget anything. So anyone you finish, you check it out. Anyone you finish, you check it off, and keep checking off until you're done. So this helps you to have a good overblick, or to know what you've done and what you've not done, or what you've forgotten. And whatever you forget, you cannot always add it to your to-do list. That way you don't forget things. Without a checklist, there's a possibility that you might forget to do some stuff, and that will make you run into a huge difficulty on the main Prüfung day, like day 2. Tip number 6, get to know your patients. Now, when I say get to know your patients, it doesn't mean you just go into the room. No, no. Your proofer has already handed you over the names of the candidates you're going to take care of, your patients, right? So what you need to do is you need to get to know them, go into the rooms, and if there are 2, now you know if you have 2 patients or 3 patients or 4 to Fizog. So you need to go there, find out if they're diabetic, if they have stoma, AP, if they have AP Beutel, if they have stoma, or if they have a tracheostoma. I mean, if they have a wound, if they have also whatever they need. Now, it is also best or better to take care of these patients, like do the copper pflege. Now, during the copper pflege, you get to know if they have their eigene Waschlappen, eigene Waschutensilien. You know what they have and what they don't have, then you prepare it for the next day. Now, getting to know them also involves introducing yourself to them and telling them your intentions. That's what you should do at the beginning, of course. Now, if you didn't get the opportunity to know the patient, like you haven't been at the station a few days ago, like I mentioned in the beginning, you've never taken care of the patient. Now, doing the copper pflege on that day will also give you a better opportunity to know the patient, to get to know more about him and get you ready for the next day, for day 1. I'm sorry, and get you ready for day 2, which is the actual exam day. Doing the copper pflege or getting to know the patient also gives you a better opportunity to recognize the pflege problem of the patient, resources, and know how you can do your Maßnahmen. Now, Pflegeprobleme in diesem Fall sind Probleme, die pflegerische behoben sein konnten. So, yeah, it is very important because, of course, you're going to write your Pflegeplan in a few hours. So that means that if you don't know the patient, if you say, yeah, I'm going to leave the Patientenversorgung for the next day, how are you going to know what the patients need? How do you know if the patient has stoma or does not have tracheostoma or does not have Beutel? What do you know about the patient? So it makes your Pflegeplanung easier. That way, tack, you're done with your Pflegeplanung. Tip number 8, learn to prioritize. Now, this is something you're supposed to have learned over time. Like, you don't need to start learning it during your Prüfungsvorbereitung. You have to start learning to do so during your Praxisanleitungen and also during your praktische Einsätze. Okay. How this helps is that during your Zeichen and Pflegeplanung, you don't just write anything that comes up in your head. Klar, there are so many Pflegeplanungen. In some cases, so many patients have so many Pflegebedarf or Pflegeprobleme, where you have to prioritize. Choose which one is most important. Like the patient is having Luftnot, or the patients have Luftnotbelastung oder Körpertemperatur oder erhöhte Temperatur, and you go on about changing what is it? The cubitus, or you go on about thrombose. Hey, now you need to know that there are problems that needs to come first. So if the patient has a hotter temperature, you have to put that first. You don't just go on and writing about Körperpflege, Ernährung, Probleme Unterstützung bei dem Essen, and forget about stuff like that, or forget about wound when the patient has wound that needs to be versorgt or Patienten hat Schmerzen. Okay, so these are the things you need to prioritize. What should I write? And of course, if you write the cubitus prophylaxis, thrombose prophylaxis, or the contractile prophylaxis, it might be correct, but you also have to be faculty fake enough to be able to know that. I mean, write the most important ones. We're about to become a pflegefachkraft. That's it. And prioritizing will help you because you've already faced up the patient, you have all your flaky problem at your fingertips while you're already taking care of the patient. You already know which one you're going to write first. How does this help you? Now, this is the point number one. Which point are I? Yeah, this brings me to point number 9. Do not use up your 2 hours. Yeah. Now, because you've already gotten to know the patients, you have everything at your fingertips. Now you don't need to waste your time. Now, as much as you're trying to save some time so you can use it for the next day, yeah, you also have to be careful because you need to concentrate not just on the time but also on the flaky problem that you're striving. Okay, you need to know that this is my time for this flaky problem. I need to concentrate on it, but at the same time, make sure that you don't use it. Like I said, I used about 1 hour 30 minutes. I think I had 30 minutes left, but which I didn't even notice the next day. I didn't even notice it was added when the prophet told me, "Oh, Helen, Prüfung is vorbei." I was like, really? I thought I had still 30 minutes. She said, yeah, it's out vorbei. I was like, what? So you don't know, you think you have enough time, but it's gone. It goes really fast. There is something that just came to mind. I forgot to write it down on my list. But now it just came to mind as I was just talking now. In the Pflegeplanung, you need to know that the Pflegeplanung during your praktische Prüfung is ganz anders as the Pflegeplanung you wrote during your schriftliche exam. Okay. Now, the difference is that the other one is just oberflächlich, like imaginary. You get an imaginary Patientenbeschreibung, you don't know the patient is not there, so you don't know what's happening. Well, in this case, patient is there. So you don't need all this, you don't need to start writing criteria, Begründung. Of course, it's okay if you write Begründung because you write, Patienten braucht Unterstützung bei der Körperpflege. Aufgrund, blah, blah, blah. So, but just know that you don't need to write it you don't need it to be detailed, just like the one you have to do, or you don't need any long story like you would do in your Schriftliche exam. So that's the point I want to make. So back to tips. So now to tip number 10. Do not be in a haste to go home. Now your exam is done, and as much as you don't need to stay too long, you also don't need to be in a haste to go home because you still have stuff to do, stuff to take care of. If you're intending to take up any other appointment on that day after your exam, please postpone it for another day. Do not take up any other appointment on these 2 days of your exam because you need your rule, right? You need to be yourself. So don't be in a haste to go home. Now is the time to get your materials ready, your Pflegefragen, your Apfel, is the Apfel meter or the Apfel? Get your Apfelwäsche ready. I almost called that Apfel bag or the Apfel bottle. Now you get your attention material ready. Yeah. While you're getting stuff ready, do not forget your medicament because they need that. You need to set them out. In the case where it's not done, so at the station, like in some station, the night shifts are the one who dispense the medication. Please tell the slaves at the Übergabe that you have exam, and please tell everyone to tell the night shift, please not to get medication ready to dispense medication for the next day. because you have exam and you have to do it, and it's one of the things you have to do. Your profile is going to stand beside you and observe you while you're dispensing the medication. So it's not going to make any sense, because as a student you don't really know all the medications yet, and there's no way you can prove that this is actually the medication that is here, except you already know them, which you don't as a student yet, not yet. If there's any way you can hide it, go hide it there so no one can touch it or steal it. When I say steal it, not steal it and go home like someone tampering with it or taking something from it. No, it can happen. So if it's something you can get ready on that day, do it. If it's not something you can get ready on that day, leave it the next day, because you're gonna come early, of course, and you do it before your profile arrives. Get yourself ready, write your name on it, name, datum of your exam, bitte for mein Exam, bitte für meine Prüfung, bitte nicht anfassen oder bitte nicht wegnehmen. Egal, depending on what you want to write. Just write your name, also write your name on the thing and tell people, let them people know, and cover it up with a paper, or sorry, with a what's it called, with a visher, yeah, with a bet visher, and write your name on it. That way, no one is going to touch it or tamper with it, and that way, you don't. When you come the next day, you don't need to start running around to start looking for materials. So everyone at the station already knows that, yeah, proofing goes on at the stations every time, and this is how it's done. And even if the person is new at the station and doesn't know what's up about the proofing or whatever, he already seen the bargain that you've vorbereitet, and he's not going to take anything away from it. As long as you wrote something on it, please do not touch for my exam, for my proofing, no one is going to touch that. So please do not forget to do that. Please, 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 and do not forget to give information vital. It is very, very important, because sometimes if you don't give the information during the Uber garbage, this is yet the tip number what? The tip number 12. Announce your exam during the Uber garbage. Why am I saying this? Someone who hasn't been done might come the next day and start tampering with the stuff. Please announce it overall everywhere. People know, yes, I have exam. And even if during the Uber garbage someone else forgets to tell the other people that you have exam, or that they should not dispense medication, the other person can also chip in and say, yes, we have so the person has exam, please do not dispense medication for today or for the next day. They can tell that the night shift. So please, please, please announce your exam during the Uber Gabe. Stay back, okay? If you cannot stay back, when I said don't stay back to announce, of course you don't have to stay back during the afternoon shift to announce it, because you must have already gone home. But announce it during the Uber Gabe the day before, so that everyone knows and they can also pass the information on. Too much about that. Tip number 13. Check the dean's plan to know who is going to be there on day 2. Why is it necessary? It is necessary so that you know who to delegate to. So you know who is going to come tomorrow, so who is going to be there, so you can delegate to them, and you can be able to know if they're adequate enough. And that brings me to tip number 14. Never delegate to a KPH or to a Schüler, a student like you. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because I had the same problem. I delegated to a KPH who I thought was in charge of the area where my patients were. Now things changed. They had a note file. He didn't tell me that I had a note file, and I kept asking him, even though we already spoke the previous day that he was going to help me do this. He said it was going to be in Frudingst. No, I didn't know he wasn't capable enough. I didn't know. He was a nice person, but his fachliche Fähigkeit, I didn't know about it. Oh, I wasn't sure about it, so I delegated stuff to him, and he fucked me up. Now he didn't do what I asked him to do. Neither did he tell someone. When they changed the barrage, instead of him being on the right side, he was delegated on the left side. And instead of telling me that he was on the left side, he wasn't there on the left side anymore. He didn't tell me. When I asked him the first time, he told me, "Yeah, we haven't yet a note file. We haven't yet a note file." And when I asked him again, okay, I said, "Okay, note file. Okay, good." And when I asked him again, he said, "Ja, ich bin leider nicht mehr auf dieser Seite. Ich bin auf der Seite. Ich bin auf der anderen Seite heute." And I was like, "Okay, what the hell?" So he messed me up the day before, and it kind of brought me into confusion. That is another story for next video. Another story for day 2. So please do not delegate to a KPH or a Schüler again, or Schüler. Unless you trust this person, you know their capacity, you trust that, they are trustworthy enough to carry out that thing you're delegating to them. Aber am besten, please to be sure, delegate to a Fachkraft, a Pflegefachkraft. That is the sicherste Option. Please. Okay? So tip number 15. Is that 15? Yeah. Tip number 15. Last tip for today. Make sure you get a printout of a patient's document. That way you can always look back on it. You can also, look back and read some stuff. Or it is also important for your Übergabe, because you need to write an Übergabe when you get home. So um in some cases, at some hospitals, they don't allow you to print out. You're going to have to write it down, which is going to take a lot of time, a whole lot of time. But in some cases, you are also allowed to make copies, but then use a TPEX, not TPEX. What is it called? Just erase the name of the patient, the number, the patient's number, the Aufnahme number. Erase everything personal, every personal information about the patient. Erase them. Any personal data, you have to erase them. That way, you are sicher. You have the sicher Seite, also Patientenschutz or Datenschutz, for wegen Datenschutz. You have to do that. You erase them so that you don't, any other person doesn't see that. Of course, you know what that means in Germany. So, guys, this is the end of this video. So, yeah, it's been fun making this video, and maybe because I'm full of energy because I just got back, I just got out of 4 days night shift, and I just had a good sleepy last night. So maybe that's why I'm full of energy. But anyway, guys, it was fun making this video, and next video is going to be part 2, or about day 2. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please make sure to subscribe, and please leave a comment below and click the notification button to know when I upload a new video. Um Thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to see you in my next video. Bye bye.